Hi everyone, Jessica here. Welcome to the Navigating Your Relationship with Social Media video. During this video, we want to recognize that social media has a huge impact on our lives even before the pandemic. And during this pandemic, it has been very positive. That being said, there are some ways that your relationship with social media and everything that comes with it might become unhealthy in some ways. So here we'll discuss the ways that we can combat that to really help keep your relationship and your experience with social media positive. First off, we're going to be talking about the experience of FOMO, which, as I'm sure most of you already know, refers to the fear of missing out. In the context of quarantine, we may be seeing a lot of people on social media not really following guidelines and restrictions when it comes to social distancing measures. What we want to emphasize here is that we understand how frustrating it is to feel like you're being held back from having an awesome summer. But physical distancing and social isolation aren't synonymous. You can still do a variety of social activities with friends and family while remaining physically distant and following health and safety guidelines, including staying 6 feet apart, wearing masks, and washing hands. Here you'll see a very short list of some activities that we came up with that you might want to try. But feel free to get creative and really think of ways that you can be together without being physically so close. So the next thing we're talking about is anyone who may be feeling just overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information or, more importantly, misinformation that's being made available on social media about the pandemic. It can be really confusing trying to determine what's accurate and what's trustworthy and what isn't. So here you'll see a list of ways that we thought would be helpful to you to start really thinking critically about what you're viewing on social media, and as well as a list of some reputable sources where you can go to seek information in regards to the pandemic. For the third area of focus, we wanted to talk to those of you who may be experiencing some generalized feelings of stress, depression, sadness, or even anxiety around the idea of being on social media. Now, youth are already at a higher risk of experiencing these feelings when they're on social media often. So now with the pandemic and this significant increase in social media use, it's not surprising that we've also seen an increase in these feelings. What's important to know is that, first of all, you are absolutely not alone. If you are feeling any of these things, you are completely normal. There is nothing wrong with it at all. What we want to do for this video is give you some tools and resources to really be able to identify those feelings and address them through healthy coping strategies so that they don't persist long term. The thing we're going to focus on in this video is something that has been really prominent during our time in quarantine, and that is the civil rights movement that really started at the same time that we were being put under all of these physical isolation restrictions. And so due to this, the movement has gone largely onto social media because that's the main way that we've been connecting with each other and being able to spread that message. So this is for any of you who may be experiencing things like racism, prejudice, discrimination, or even re-traumatization as a result of posts or your interactions on social media. Now, I can't even imagine what some of you must be feeling in this moment. But what I can say is that we've done some research, and it does show that young people can experience some really profound effects on their mental health when it comes to viewing race-related trauma online. So whether you identify with something on this list or not, we really just want to let you know that whatever you're feeling, it is completely and totally valid. So here you'll see some key resources that we felt could be super helpful for you all in this area of getting mental health support for your experiences with race-related trauma on social media. So this next part we're focusing on is any of you who may be feeling desensitized towards posts that involve cruelty, suffering, or brutality towards Black people specifically when you're on social media. Now, this may come in the form of feeling less shocked or less distressed when viewing this content, or you may even kind of feel nothing towards it and just scroll past it as if it's normal and no big deal. Now, what we want to emphasize here is that this is a big deal. We cannot let these images and videos of trauma towards people become commonplace and become something normal for us to view. It's really important that we give time for thoughtful reflection, especially towards the issues of us becoming desensitized to this kind of content and why it's important that we don't let it become something that feels normal. Here we want to focus on those of you who may be experiencing some burnout due to taking on more of an activist role in this movement. And what we mean by that is you may be feeling things like mental, physical, or emotional exhaustion in regards to the work you've been doing on social media, because fighting for social justice and societal change is an incredibly emotionally draining thing to do, but it is so important. So we wanted to give you some tips on how you can sustain that work in the long run. The first is setting boundaries. You by no means have to be the person who educates everyone you know. So be really selective about not only what posts you give your attention to, but also who you choose to respond to. Just because somebody reaches out doesn't mean you have to respond. So be more specific about where you're giving your attention throughout your day. The next is setting time limits. This can include just giving yourself time throughout the day to take intentional breaks from social media or from your devices. Really allow yourself that time to recognize how you're feeling, reflect, and do some self-care. The last thing I want to talk about is making sure to inject some positivity into your timeline. Follow accounts that make you happy and that really spark joy when you see their posts. And that'll go a long way towards feeling that motivation to continue on. And on that same wave, don't ever feel guilty about having to unfollow or block accounts that spread negativity, hate, or just generally only cause you distress. The last thing we're going to talk about is those of you who may be feeling pressured to participate in this movement on social media. Now, you might feel pressured to post about it just because you feel like everybody else is, but we really wanted to let you know that posting for the sake of it can sometimes end up having a much more negative effect than you would have ever intended. So if posting on social media isn't something that really feels true to you and your beliefs, then it's totally fine to show your support off of social media. Now, we have a short list here again of some ways that you can do that. And the one that I really want to call attention to is at the bottom where it says donating. Now, I know you're probably thinking, donate money, but we know that most of you watching right now are probably students, and we are too. So I completely understand the struggle of not having spending money and not being able to donate even if you really want to. So I wanted to let you guys know that you can actually donate your time. And what that means is there are some amazing creators on YouTube that have actually put together videos that showcase Black artists. And all of the money they make off of the views of that video are actually going to be going towards Black Lives Matter and other organizations that are helping to fund and support this movement. So just by clicking a YouTube video and taking the time to watch it, you can actually be donating without using any of your own money. as we conclude, I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you so much for sticking with me through this whole thing. I really hope this helped you not only realize some of the ways that your relationship with social media can be unhealthy to the point where it kind of makes you not even want to use it or just dread the idea of it, and also some tips on how to bring it back into a positive space. If you want more resources, I highly encourage you to check out our resource packages below. They have so many great links and exercises for you to follow. And with that, I will leave you with a thank you once again. Good luck, and you have got this.